Did you know that there is this one amenity that if you toggle it on, will literally 2x your chances of landing a not just an MTR contract, but just double the amount of interest you receive on nearly all platforms as a midterm rental host, co-host, or manager or owner. There is this one amenity that is often overlooked simply because we haven't done the math. And today I want to show you how that math is done and how you can do the math so you don't just have to hear it from me, you can look at it for yourself. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because there is this one thing, one word, one core, one pillar that literally sets the entire foundation for you to be in the game of midterm rentals, right? And that number one pillar, right, forgetting all the bells and whistles, the number one pillar is availability. You need to be available. If they can't find you when they search, they can't flow you. And so it is in your best interest for you to be available at all times. And keep in mind, available for me means being available to receive the business. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be available to serve the business, right? I want to be very clear on that because typically people think with respect to the amount of platforms that are available out there, no pun intended, that you have to just open the door wide open and just be available to receive the business. No, you need to be available to have a conversation, to engage in the business, and then you can make a business decision on whether you want to move forward or not. But first, I want to give myself the chance to receive the inquiries, the interest. And so with this one amenity, it can then translate to having an increase in volume and traffic with respect to availability, which we can cover in a separate video. So let's focus on this amenity. So this amenity is one that people don't often see it as an amenity, but it is an amenity. And it is critical because in this day and age, you know, when people are traveling, you have to keep in mind the midterm rental, the people are traveling for a longer term stay, which means that they have to accommodate longer term individuals in their booking for their stay. This is not the 2-day trip next door or 3-day weekend trip. This is potentially staying for the next month. And if you do the math, you'll understand the alternative of you not turning on this amenity increases the dollar amount of value that guest, family, single guest, family, or group is going to have to pay if you do not have this amenity turned on. And having turned on this amenity, it's one amenity that 50%, when I say this, I'm saying it very consistently, 50% of the operators on platforms are not turning this on either because they don't know any better and haven't done the math or because they choose not to. And you'll find out why very soon, why they choose not to. But if you're in the business of being able to serve at scale, if you're in a business of being able to try to maximize, if you're more importantly, if you're watching this video, if you're in the business of landing lucrative midterm rental contracts from insurance companies, then 80 to 90% of these companies actually need this amenity turned off. If you're currently getting value from watching this video, you'll want to make sure you take a second and click below to grab the midterm rental insurance blueprint to help accelerate your process in being able to land these midterm rental insurance contracts with respect to your marketplace. Make sure you click the button below and grab it and continue on with the gems in this video. And guess what? When it is not turned on, guess what they do? They don't even consider you, right? They don't even see you as a viable option, which means you don't even have a chance. You don't even give yourself the chance. Why? Because the power is in your hand, because no one can take this amenity away from you. Only you can think about turning it on for all of your properties or one property to maximize. And that amenity is being pet friendly. Now, if for 1 second you don't think that's an amenity, let's do the math with me. Pull up an Airbnb or Furnish Finder or whatever floats your boat, right? Type in the name of the city and look for, let's say, 5-6 guests to stay there. Look at the amount of search results that you get, whether it's on Furnish Finder, whether it's on Zillow Rental Manager. Matter of fact, keep it simple, whether it's on Airbnb. Look at the amount of properties that are available, right, for that search without a pet. Then add the pet friendly and look at where that number goes. Every time, you please comment below if you see anything different. Most of the markets, it will be even larger than you can imagine. Why is that? So for example, if I look up in, let's say, Boston or Atlanta, and I look for a specific place, a specific city, right? Whether it's Boston, Atlanta, or another town, or whatever the case might be, or where I'm trying to say, and I do 6 guesses, etc. And I look, I might see 1,000 results. If I then add pet friendly to it, I will see around 500 or so results. It literally cuts the inventory slice in half, which tells me that those operators haven't done the math, or maybe, quite frankly, they just don't want to be pet friendly. And that's okay, by the way. Power to you if you're not going to be pet friendly, but let the math show and let the record show that the math is mathin', or in your case, it might not be mathin' if you haven't done the math, right? But the math states that the inventory cuts in half almost everywhere you go, which tells me that if you're trying to maximize from midterm rental insurance bookings, if you're trying to maximize from getting more volumes of MTRs, period, you need to factor in that people have their furry friends that they need to also accommodate. And the reason why this opportunity is a big one is because the alternative of not being able to have your pet is paying a premium for the kennel fees, which people don't have, which means that when you're not pet friendly, they're going to go for an owner that is pet friendly. Now, keep in mind, because the inventory cut in half, it means you're actually doubling your chances of receiving interest with respect to where you are in your market, your zip code, your city, your town. So if you want to maximize and literally turn on double your chances, turning on this pet-friendly amenity is going to be a huge bonus for you. Now, keep in mind, there are metrics around it. The reason why there's an initial pushback for us with pets is because, yes, they can create a mess, they can damage furniture, whatever the case might be. So then set the metrics in place where you have even a pet rent, right? Or pet security deposit, so that when something does come up, you do have that cushion. You can even add on some additional short-term rental insurances, etc., which you're happy to enroll into, but it's actually in your best interest to have that, so that you're going to maximize revenue, you're going to serve a need, and you're going to double your chances of receiving increase in business. And you're going to most certainly increase the chances of being able to land these midterm rental insurance contracts, as I would say confidently that 80% of the time there is often a pet involved. And that is why you're being compensated a premium for solving a premium problem where most people aren't willing to turn it on. Again, to each their own. But even if you make the decision to not have the pet friendly, now you know the math and you know that this amenity is tested across the nation. Again, power to you, giving you the tools to increase your occupancy and profitability at scale across the board. If you got value from this video, make sure you check out the Superhost Secrets video. Level up your midterm rental with these must-have amenities.